We're here in Trish's kitchen today to make chocolate peanut butter no-bake cookies. Don't forget the peanut butter. So I like to make sure that I have all of my ingredients before I start. So I go down the list, I checked everything off, I got everything out of the cupboard. I'm going to measure out the peanut butter ahead of time because you're going to need to put that into the boiling mixture very quickly. So you don't want to be measuring this out while you're still making the basic batch here. And I also started it out here in the table where instead of using wax paper, I cut open 2 brown paper bags, and we're going to drop the cookies onto the brown paper instead of using wax paper. Save you a little bit of money, you know. So get that ready ahead of time as well. I've already measured out 2 cups of sugar into the pot, along with half a cup, 1 stick of butter. And we're going to add to that 4 tablespoons of cocoa and 1/2 cup of milk. So I like to have a lot of measuring spoons sets. Got to have a lot here so that you know, when you're baking, you have lots of clean ones. Because you always have to be measuring things. You don't want your ingredients to run together. So we're going to put in, how many cocos did I say? 4 tablespoons of cocoa. That's 2, 3, 4. We're going to leave these measuring spoons out because we're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla. And now it says 1/2 cup of milk. It doesn't specify whole milk or 2%. We use 2% in our house. Notice how I'm putting things away as I'm finished with them. As I'm finished with them, so we keep the kitchen nice and neat. And when you're measuring liquids, you want to have the measuring cup flat on the surface so that you can measure it accurately to 1/2 cup. You don't want to be holding it up in the air and pouring, and so more accurate. You want to be very accurate when you're baking, making cookies. I'm going to rinse that out so we don't get a milk stain in the bottom of that, and put the milk away so it doesn't spoil. I think a wooden spoon is the best for this recipe. Let's see, do we have a wooden spoon somewhere? Oh, here it is in the dish drainer. I'm going to turn that on. Now it does say in a heavy saucepan. So we have a pretty big, nice heavy duty tall pan here. You want to make sure that your pan's big enough so that your mixture doesn't boil all over the stove, because you are going to bring that to a boil and let it boil then for 1 minute. So you want to make sure that you have a timer handy. We're going to be using the one on the stove, and I'm just going to get that ready. I don't know how long that'll stay, so we just press timer 1. We'll see, that might not stay there, but probably don't need it that high. You don't want to burn it. Now, make sure it's not too high, because like I said, the mixture will burn. I'm going to get a rubber spatula here too to scrape down the sides. Make sure we get all that cocoa in there and mixed in. Butter is melting. I'm melting! Okay. So, hasn't come to a boil yet. Still melting the butter. You don't need to keep stirring it, but the butter's not melted, so I'm just gonna keep stirring it. Then we're gonna look over the directions again. After it comes to a boil for 1 minute, we're gonna add a cup of peanut butter and a tisp of vanilla. So we'll get that ready. Make sure we have it handy here. And then we'll add the oatmeal, which I have measured out over here in the dish, so it's just ready to go in. And that's 3 cups of, so it says oatmeal. For this recipe, I found that the quick oatmeal makes the best cookie. Now you don't want to confuse that with instant oatmeal in a package, because I'm not sure how that would turn out. You'd have to empty out, you'd have to open quite a few packages of instant oatmeal to make 3 cups anyway. It wouldn't be very economical either. And there's all that added ingredients in those as well. And I use creamy peanut butter. I suppose you could use crunchy if you wanted. And we happen to have, you know, our favorite Jif creamy peanut butter. We go through quite a lot of peanut butter around here. Of course, I have made some other cookies with it. And kids really like their peanut butter and jelly. That's what they like in their belly. So it's just starting to come to a boil here. The timer did go off. I guess it doesn't stay on forever. Okay, so it's coming to a boil. You can see around the edges there, and then around in the middle it's bubbling up. So we're going to boil that 1 minute. See how it's counting down the minute over there? Because you want to be pretty accurate with how long you boil it. Because if you don't boil it long enough, then the cookies, they won't hold together. They'll be a pile of mush. But if you boil it too long, then they'll be hard and they'll all fall apart and be all dried out. It's kind of like when you're making fudge. We got 17, 16. You can probably turn the fire down a little if it starts to boil too hard. I'm going to get ready with that peanut butter. Throw that in here as soon as that timer goes. There we go. We're going to turn this flame off. Turn the timer off. That's annoying when it beep, 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 beeps. Sometimes I use a timer on my phone. It has a, I can set a more pleasant tone. Just beep, 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 beep. Okay, and then we're going to stir that in so that peanut butter, see that it's just melting right in there. Okay, then we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. You can double check. Oh, teaspoon, yes. Your recipe, oh, that says a half tablespoon. And we'll scoop that out, of course. I don't know, just make it more flavorful, I guess. I don't know. You might need to put vanilla on the... Oh, you smell that? You don't want to taste vanilla, though. It doesn't taste anywhere as good as it smells. I heard back in the day, if a woman was going out on a date, she didn't have any perfume, she might dab a little vanilla behind her ears. It smells so sweet. That or almond flavor. Okay, peanut butter's almost dissolved here. We want to get our oats in there fairly quickly too, because they're going to need to get nice and hot and cook up there so they're not all hard. This is a fairly easy cookie recipe, especially that you don't have to bake them. You also don't have to have chocolate. Use cocoa and they come out chocolatey deliciousness. And hardly any time at all. So it's got those oats coated well with that chocolate that we've cooked up there, and the peanut butter, and it's all coming together nicely. So what do you suppose we're going to do next? We're going to take this out into the table where we have the paper set up. Now, be careful you don't want to burn yourselves. That pan is still very hot. I'm going to get a couple of longer spoons because I have a pretty deep pan. Oh, a little fuzz on that. Take a little trivet here. We don't want to burn the table. Use your pot holders. Here in the pan. Out to where we're going to put the cookies onto the brown paper. And whoops, I put on my pot holder instead of my trivet. There we go. Like I said, be careful, don't burn yourselves. I'm just going to give this another, it's starting to set up here. So you need to work fairly quickly. Like I said, it is starting to set up. And you're just going to take it by the spoonful and drop it onto the the brown paper. And you can use wax paper if you have it and you don't have a brown paper bag. Like I said, I just had these brown paper bags and they're just sitting around. And don't have to waste our wax paper or our parchment paper. See how easy those are to scoop out there. And see how nicely they're holding together. If you would have undercooked this, if they spread out and they're all still runny, then you didn't boil it for a complete minute. I don't know if I'm going to need both bags here. We don't want to make our cookies too big because these are Christmas cookies, and you put out a tray of cookies for Christmas. You want them to be a little bit dainty, especially if you have a lot of varieties of cookies, because people are going to want to try everything, and you know they'll be too full to try everything if the cookies are too big.